Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating, um, sometimes misunderstood corner of real estate. It impacts millions of homeowners, maybe even you, often without you even realizing it.
Hmm.
We're talking about something called declarant control in condominiums and planned communities.
Right.
We've looked through a whole stack of articles, legal blogs, community discussions, and our mission, really, is to demystify this critical period.
Yeah, pull back the curtain a bit.
Exactly. Reveal the potential pitfalls and hopefully empower you with what we've learned from all these sources.
And what's really interesting here is how this idea, I mean, it's absolutely essential for getting a new community built, right?
Sure. You need someone in charge initially.
But it can also create, well, significant friction, long-term issues for homeowners if you don't fully grasp the implications.
So it's not just what it is.
No, it's why it matters so much. To your home, your money, your say in how things are run.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. This declarant, who are we talking about?
Simply put, it's the developer, the builder who actually creates the condominium project or the planned community.
Got it. And the declarant control period.
That's that specific initial time frame, the period where the developer keeps significant control over the homeowners association.
Meaning the board of directors.
The board, yeah, but also its operations and, critically, its finances.
Now, our sources do point out there's a reason for this, a logic from the developer's angle.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. During those early stages, construction, marketing, sales, the developer needs to make sure their vision holds together.
Keep things consistent.
Exactly. They need to finish the projects, sell the units. You can't have, say, the first 10 buyers forming a board and suddenly deciding to paint everything purple, you know?
Right, that could mess up the whole plan, the marketability.
It's really a way for them to protect their investment and make sure the community actually gets built as planned.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like they're steering the ship while it's still under construction.
Yeah.
But how long does this developer control actually last? Is it indefinite?
Oh, definitely not. Thankfully. The duration varies quite a bit, state by state. That's a key thing we saw in the legal sources.
So it depends where you live.
Pretty much. Often it's tied to selling a certain percentage of the units. You'll often see numbers like 75% or maybe even 9% sold.
Okay.
Or sometimes it's linked to a specific number of years, typically, maybe 5 to 7 years after the first sale. Sometimes it's whichever comes first.
You found some specific examples, right?
Yeah, like Wisconsin law limits it to 3 years or 75% of units sold unless there's a specific amendment.
Yeah.
And in North Carolina, it seems common for control to last until 75% of units are sold or a certain number of years pass. Again, whichever happens first. It shows lawmakers are trying to put some kind of limit on it.
It's interesting how the specifics change, but the basic idea of a limit seems common. Is there a larger legal reason for this consistency?
Yeah, if you zoom out a bit, a lot of state laws for these communities are influenced by big model acts, things like the Uniform Common Interest Ownership Act, UCIOA, or the Uniform Condominium Act.
So templates, basically.
Kind of. They provide a framework. So even if State A has a 5-year limit and State B has a 7-year limit, the underlying goal is similar. Balance the developers need to build with the homeowners' right to eventually run their own community.
Balance.
Yeah.
That sounds good in theory.
Right. But achieving that balance in practice, that's where things can get complicated.
And that leads us right into the potential downsides.
Right.
Because while declaring control is, necessary to start, it can become a real source of headaches for homeowners.
A huge source.
Our sources, legal blogs, those online forums, they paint a pretty clear picture of some serious concerns.
It boils down to a fundamental conflict of interest, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, the developer's main goal during that control period is usually short-term. Sell units quickly, maximize profit, minimize their own costs.
Okay.
But the community's needs are long-term, maintaining property values, ensuring financial stability, funding future repairs. Those goals often clash.
And the developer-appointed board might lean towards the developer's interests.
Often, yes, intentionally or not. That's where you see things pop up like declarant self-dealing, which comes up a lot in homeowner discussions. Financial mismanagement, too.
Declarant self-dealing.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice? Beyond the obvious, maybe?
Well, it can be subtle, like maybe the developer awards the landscaping contract or security or even repair work to companies they own or are affiliated with.
Keeping the money in the family,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And maybe not always at the most competitive price for the community. Another big one is deferring maintenance,
putting things off.
Yeah, making sure the place looks shiny and new for sales, but maybe putting off essential upkeep on things like the roof or the pool pumps or the building exteriors,
Mm.
just cutting costs during the sales period.
So the problems don't show up until later.
Precisely. Kicking the can down the road for the homeowners to deal with financially later on.
Passing the buck, essentially. Wow.
And maybe the sneakiest tactic, setting those initial HOA fees really, really low.
That sounds good, though, right? Low fees are attractive.
They are. It's a great selling point. But it often means they're not putting enough money into the reserve fund.
The rainy day fund for big repairs.
Exactly. The fund for replacing the roof in 15 years, or repaving the roads, or major system overhauls. So you buy in thinking the fees are low.
Only to get hit with huge increases or a massive special assessment a few years later because the reserves are practically empty.
You got it. It's a short-term win for the developer's sales pitch, but potentially long-term pain for the residents. A real financial time bomb.
It really makes you question what you're inheriting. And it's not just the money, right?
Yeah.
What about the actual construction, the quality of the building itself?
That's another huge area of concern. A developer-controlled board might be, let's say, reluctant to aggressively pursue the developer for construction defects.
Because they're essentially suing themselves or their boss.
Pretty much. It directly hits the developer's bottom line. We've seen sources mention cases where they might even try to use the association's money, your money, to fix things that should be covered by the developer's warranty.
Ugh, that adds insult to injury. Draining already low reserves to fix the developer's mistakes.
And layered on top of all this is the feeling of powerlessness homeowners often report during this period.
Right. The lack of transparency, not having a voice.
Exactly. We saw news reports, like some from North Carolina, detailing these intense fights homeowners had just to get control of their own HOAs. They felt shut out of key decisions affecting their homes, their money, their community life. Must be incredibly frustrating.
Absolutely. So what's the lasting damage here when the homeowners finally do take over?
Well, the handover isn't always a clean slate. The new homeowner board often inherits a pile of problems,
Wow.
like those underfunded reserves we talked about, poorly maintained common areas from deferred work, and sometimes even ongoing lawsuits related to defects or financial issues from the control period.
So they're starting behind the 8 ball.
Way behind. It's a heavy burden, financially and logistically, that can impact the community's health and property values for years, long after the developer's packed up and gone.
Okay, so turnover happens, the control period officially ends. Phew, sigh of relief. Maybe not quite.
Yeah, not so fast. Because even after the homeowners elect their own board, the developer often retains certain specific rights. They're called special declarant rights.
Special rights. That sounds important. Where are these found?
They should be spelled out clearly in the main governing document, usually called the Declaration or the CC&Rs. They're not secret, but maybe easily overlooked if you're not looking closely when you buy.
Okay, give us some examples. What kind of special rights are we talking about?
Well, think about this. The developer might keep the right to maintain sales offices or model homes within the community.
Even after most people have moved in.
Yeah, sometimes for years, especially if they're building in phases. They might also reserve the right to use common areas like your pool or clubhouse for marketing events to attract buyers for remaining units or future sections.
So they're still using your amenities to sell their product.
Essentially, yes. Or they might retain the right to build future phases, maybe even annex more land, which could change the density or character of the community you bought into.
Wow. So the developer's influence can definitely linger.
It really can.
Which means that new homeowner board, when they finally get elected, they have a massive job on their hands immediately.
Monumental is a good word for it. They step into serious fiduciary duties, a legal responsibility to act in the best interests of the association, and potential liabilities, too.
So what are job number 1, 2, and 3 for that new board?
Okay, critical first steps based on our sources. 1, get a professional reserve study done immediately. Find out the real financial health and future needs.
Okay.
2, conduct a full forensic financial audit covering the entire declarant control period. Look for any signs of that self-dealing or mismanagement. Follow the money.
Right.
And 3, hire independent engineers or inspectors to do a thorough inspection of all the common elements, roofs, structures, systems, looking for hidden construction defects.
That sounds like a lot of work, and potentially expensive work, right out of the gate.
It is. But it's crucial for understanding what they've inherited.
And what if they do find big problems? Construction defects, missing money.
Huh.
Are they just stuck?
Not always. This is often when they face a really tough decision. Should they sue the developer?
Taking on the company that built the place.
Exactly. It's costly, time-consuming, stressful,
Yeah.
but often it's the only leverage they have to get defects fixed properly or recover mismanaged funds. It's about protecting the community's assets long-term.
And you mentioned some states are making that easier.
Yeah, we saw notes about legal changes, like in Wisconsin, giving condo owners more power to pursue those lawsuits after turnover. It suggests a trend towards empowering homeowners, which is interesting.
So for that new board, it's really about due diligence squared. They have to be detectives, almost.
Absolutely. They need to dig into the records, get expert advice, and be ready to act decisively to protect everyone's investment.
Yeah.
Understanding their rights and the developer's potential lingering liabilities is just vital.
Okay, this is all incredibly useful. Let's shift to actionable advice. What does this mean for you, the listener, if you're thinking of buying or if you already live in one of these communities?
All right, let's talk practical steps.
Starting before you even buy. Due diligence seems like the absolute mantra here.
It's everything. Your number one tool. Before you sign anything, you absolutely must read the governing documents. All of them.
The declaration, CC&Rs, bylaws, rules, the whole stack.
A whole 9 yards. And don't just skim. This is your contract with the community. It spells out the rules, your rights, their rights.
And specifically, related to this topic, what should you be hunting for in those docs?
Look for the section on the declarant control period. Understand how long it lasts, what triggers its end, and crucially, look for any mention of those special declarant rates that might stick around after turnover.
Know what you're getting into, basically.
Exactly. Also, dig into the financials. Ask for the association's budget, recent financial statements, meeting minutes, if possible.
What are the red flags there?
Unusually low HOA fees compared to similar communities that can be a big one, a reserve study that shows significant underfunding, or meeting minutes that mention deferred maintenance projects. These are all warning signs.
And if things feel complex or it's a brand new development,
Get professional help. Seriously. Consult an attorney who specializes in community association law before you buy. It's an expense, yes, but it can save you so much heartache and money down the line. They know what to look for.
okay, good advice. Now, what if you're already living there and the developer is still in control? Are you just stuck waiting?
No, not at all. Engage. Be proactive. Go to the association meetings even if they feel pointless sometimes. Listen, ask questions. Document any concerns you have about maintenance, finances, anything.
Get involved.
Yes. And find out if your state law allows homeowners to elect some representatives to the board even during the control period. Many states have phased transitions. If so, get involved in electing knowledgeable, committed homeowners.
Maybe formed a resident committee?
Great idea. Even a small group of informed, organized residents can monitor what the developer's doing and advocate for the homeowner's interests. There's strength in numbers and shared information.
Okay, and finally, for those folks on the brand new homeowner board, right after turnover, what's the immediate game plan boiled down?
All right, the critical first moves. 1. Commission that independent reserve study. 2. Order the full forensic financial audit of the developer's time in charge. 3. Get that comprehensive engineering inspection of common property.
Don't delay.
Do not delay. And if those steps uncover significant problems, major defects, financial irregularities, get experienced legal counsel involved immediately. Time is often of the essence in these cases due to statutes of limitations.
It really hammers home that knowledge is power here.
It truly is. The more you understand as a homeowner, whether buying, living under declarant control, or serving on the board, the better you can ask the right questions, push for accountability, and protect your community's future. It's about being an active citizen in your own neighborhood.
So we've definitely journeyed through the complexities of declarant control today. We've seen why it exists, the very real potential pitfalls, and most importantly, how you can navigate it. It's clearly a critical, sometimes really challenging phase for any condo or HOA community.
Absolutely, but one where being informed and engaged makes all the difference.
You know, it strikes me developers might lay the bricks and mortar.
But it's really the engaged, informed homeowners who build and protect the actual foundation for the community's long-term success. The power does shift eventually, but that responsibility to understand your rights, to act on them, that starts the minute you even think about buying in.
That's a fantastic thought to end on. Really puts the power and the responsibility back with the homeowner.
As you look at your own community, or maybe one you're considering, we hope this deep dive gave you plenty to think about. Until next time, keep digging, keep learning.
And keep asking those important questions.